The vast emptiness of space held many secrets, but none as dark as the Galactic Council's true nature. For centuries, they had ruled the known universe with an iron fist, their power unchallenged and their methods unquestioned. Earth, a small blue planet on the edge of the Milky Way, had only recently joined this interstellar community. Its people were still wide-eyed with wonder at the marvels of space travel and alien cultures. Little did they know that their children would soon become targets of the Council's most horrific plan yet. It began on a day like any other. In New Tokyo, 10-year-old Akira Tanaka walked to school, his backpack filled with books and dreams of becoming a space explorer. In Lagos, young Adebayo Okafor played soccer in the streets, imagining scoring the winning goal in an interplanetary championship. And in New York, Emma Chen sat in her classroom, eagerly learning about the different alien species that now visited Earth regularly. That's when the ships appeared. Massive and dark, they blotted out the sun in every major city across the globe. Before anyone could react, beams of eerie green light shot down from the vessels. Parents watched in horror as their children vanished before their eyes, snatched away in the blink of an eye. Within hours, Earth's governments were in chaos. Emergency meetings were called, militaries were mobilized, but it was all too late. The Galactic Council had struck with precision and speed that left humanity reeling. As the dust settled, a chilling message was broadcast on every screen and device worldwide. The face that appeared belonged to High Counselor Zixnax, a being with purple skin and eyes that seemed to hold no emotion. People of Earth, the alien's voice crackled, your children are now in our custody. This is not a negotiation. This is not a request. This is the will of the Galactic Council. Screams and cries echoed through the streets as parents clutched empty toys and uneaten breakfasts. The pain was unbearable, but the worst was yet to come. Zixnax continued, his words cutting through the global sorrow like a knife. Your species has been deemed a threat to galactic stability. Your rapid advancement and unpredictable nature cannot be allowed to spread unchecked. The children will be re-educated. They will return as loyal servants of the Council, ensuring Earth's compliance for generations to come. The broadcast ended, leaving humanity in stunned silence. Then, slowly, the silence gave way to anger. In homes and halls of power alike, a fire began to burn. This was not just an attack. It was an atrocity beyond imagination. As world leaders gathered in an emergency United Nations session, whispers of retaliation began to spread. Scientists who had been working on experimental weapons were called in from their labs. Military strategists pored over what little information they had about the Council's defenses. In a secure bunker deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, President Elena Rodriguez of the United North American Alliance slammed her fist on the table. "We will not stand for this," she declared, her voice shaking with rage. "If the Galactic Council wants a war, we'll give them one they'll never forget." Across the ocean, in the sprawling megacity of Neo-Beijing, Chairman Liu Wei nodded grimly as he received the encrypted message from his American counterpart. "Prepare our orbital platforms," he ordered his generals, "and wake up our deep space sleeper agents. It's time they knew the fury of a planet scorned." As the day turned to night, and the first shocked sobs gave way to determined silence, humanity began to change. The species that had once looked to the stars with hope and wonder now saw only a threat to be eliminated. In labs and factories, in orbital stations and underground bunkers, the gears of war began to turn. The Galactic Council had made a grave mistake. They had assumed that targeting Earth's children would break the planet's spirit. Instead, they had unknowingly planted the seeds of their own destruction. For in the hearts of every parent, sibling, and friend left behind, a singular thought took root. The children of Earth would be rescued, and the Galactic Council would pay for every tear shed, for every moment of fear inflicted on the innocent. This was no longer about diplomacy or galactic politics. This was about vengeance. And humanity, when pushed too far, could be more terrifying than any alien race the universe had ever known. In the days following the Galactic Council's attack, Earth transformed. The planet that had once been divided by borders and ideologies now united under a single cause: to save their children and exact revenge on those who had taken them. The United Earth Government, formed in haste but with iron resolve, gathered in the underground chambers of Geneva. Representatives from every nation sat side by side, their differences forgotten in the face of this cosmic threat. Dr. Amelia Chung, Earth's leading xenobiologist, stood before the assembly. Her eyes were red from sleepless nights, but her voice was steady. "We've analyzed the energy signatures from the abduction beams," she announced. "They're unlike anything we've seen before, but not impossible to replicate. Given time, we can develop countermeasures." A murmur of hope rippled through the room. It wasn't much, but it was a start. General Okonkwo of the Pan-African Defense Force leaned forward. "Time is something we don't have, Doctor. Every second we waste is another second our children are in the hands of those monsters." President Rodriguez nodded grimly. "Agreed. That's why we're initiating Operation Payback, effective immediately." Gasps and whispers filled the chamber. Operation Payback had been a theoretical plan, a last resort option if Earth ever faced an overwhelming extraterrestrial threat. Now, it was their only hope. "We're activating every sleeper agent we have in Council space," Rodriguez continued. "Our deep cover operatives, some of whom have been in place for decades, are our eyes and ears. They'll gather intelligence, sabotage Council operations, and look for any sign of our children." As the meeting progressed, similar scenes played out across the globe. In the subterranean labs of Tokyo, scientists worked tirelessly to reverse engineer alien technology captured in previous, friendlier encounters. In the hidden shipyards of the Marianas Trench, engineers put the finishing touches on a fleet of stealth ships, designed to slip past the most advanced Council detection systems. But it wasn't just the military and scientific communities that mobilized. Ordinary citizens, driven by grief and rage, found ways to contribute to the cause. Hackers formed global networks, probing for weaknesses in Council communications. Farmers worked around the clock to stockpile food for the coming war effort. Even children too young to have been taken joined in, organizing rallies and support groups for affected families. In orbit, the International Space Station became a hive of activity. Transformed into a military command center, it coordinated with a handful of human colonies on Mars and the Moon. These off-world outposts, once seen as humanity's first tentative steps into the cosmos, now became forward bases for the coming conflict. Amidst all this activity, personal stories of loss and determination emerge. In a small town in Brazil, Maria Oliveira turned her bakery into a community center, providing meals and comfort to families of the taken. In Russia, former Olympic wrestler Ivan Petrov began training civilians in hand-to-hand combat, preparing them for the possibility of ground invasion. As weeks passed, the first reports from deep cover agents trickled in. The news was grim. The children were being held in massive re-education centers scattered across Council space. The facilities were heavily guarded, their locations carefully hidden from all but the highest-ranking Council members. But there was hope. A few agents had managed to make contact with the captive children. Despite the Council's best efforts, the human spirit remained unbroken. The kids were resisting, in ways both small and large, holding on to their memories of Earth and their families. One agent's message, transmitted at great risk, became a rallying cry for the entire planet. "They're waiting for us. They know we're coming." As humanity's preparations neared completion, a sense of anticipation built. The Galactic Council, confident in their superiority, had grown complacent. They believed that Earth, a backwater planet only recently introduced to interstellar society, could pose no real threat. They were about to learn how wrong they were. In a final address to the people of Earth, President Rodriguez stood before a global audience. Her words were simple, but they carried the weight of an entire species' determination. To the Galactic Council, We say this: you took our children. You thought it would break us. Instead, it has only made us stronger. We are coming for what is ours. And may whatever gods you believe in have mercy on you, because we will not. As cheers erupted around the world, the first wave of Earth's vengeance forces slipped silently into the starry night. The war to reclaim their future had begun. The vast emptiness of space hid a secret war. Earth's first strikes against the Galactic Council were silent, swift, and devastating. Humanity had learned to be cunning. On the desert planet of Zorth, a key fuel production facility for the Council's fleet suddenly went offline. Security footage showed nothing unusual, but deep in the facility's core, a small Earth-made device blinked quietly. It had taken Agent Sarah Chin 3 years to get into position for this sabotage. Meanwhile, in the bustling spaceport of Neva Prime, a Council transport ship prepared for takeoff. Its cargo hold was filled with weapons destined for the front lines. As the ship lifted off, no one noticed the slight weight discrepancy. Hidden in a secret compartment, Agent Dmitry Volkov smiled grimly. His mission to redirect the shipment to Earth's allies was going perfectly. Back on Earth, the pace of preparation intensified. In the Brazilian rainforest, a massive underground hangar housed Earth's new fleet of stealth ships. Dr. Raul Oliveira, lead engineer of the project, watched with pride as the first ship, Esperança, Hope, rose silently into the night sky for its test flight. "She's beautiful," whispered Captain Aisha Okafor, the ship's pilot. "And deadly," added Dr. Oliveira with a nod. "The Council won't know what hit them." In laboratories around the world, scientists made breakthroughs at an astonishing rate. The pressure of the situation sparked innovation like never before. In a basement lab in MIT, a team led by Dr. Yuki Tanaka cracked the code of the Council's quantum communication network. "We can intercept their messages now," Dr. Tanaka announced to the United Earth government in a secure video call. "But more importantly, we can send false information." This breakthrough led to Operation Ghost Echo, a massive disinformation campaign aimed at confusing and disorienting the Galactic Council. False reports of rebellion on loyal planets, fake orders to reposition fleets, and illusory sightings of Earth ships began to spread through Council space. But Earth's leaders knew that information warfare alone wouldn't be enough. In the Himalayan mountains, hidden training camps prepared soldiers for the battles to come. These weren't just regular troops. They were parents, siblings, and friends of the taken children, each with a personal stake in the war. Lieutenant Maria Gonzalez watched her unit run through drills with alien weapon replicas. "Remember," she shouted, "the Council thinks we're primitive. Let's show them how wrong they are." As Earth's military prepared, civilian efforts continued to play a crucial role. A global network of hackers, led by the mysterious figure known only as Phoenix, launched relentless cyberattacks against Council systems. Banking networks crashed, navigation systems went haywire, and communication channels filled with static. In the Martian colony of New Ares, scientists worked on another key project. Dr. Hiroshi Nakamura led a team developing advanced AI systems to control Earth's unmanned combat drones. "The Council relies too much on organic pilots," Dr. Nakamura explained to a group of military observers. "Our drones can outmaneuver them in ways they can't imagine." But the most important breakthrough came from an unexpected source. In a small lab in Kenya, Dr. Amina Osei had been studying the few pieces of Council technology Earth had managed to acquire over the years. Late one night, she made a startling discovery. "The Council's shields," she said, her voice shaking with excitement as she addressed an emergency session of the United Earth government. "They have a fundamental flaw. A specific frequency that causes them to resonate and fail. We can breach their defenses." This discovery changed everything. Suddenly, the massive Council ships that had seemed invincible became vulnerable. Earth's leaders realized they had a real chance at victory. As the final preparations for the counterattack were made, a message arrived from one of Earth's deep cover agents. It was short, but it sent a wave of hope across the planet. children located, multiple facilities, security heavy but not impenetrable. They're waiting for us. Hurry. With this information, the last piece of the plan fell into place. Earth was ready to strike back. In shipyards and hangars around the world, soldiers boarded their vessels. On screens in every home, President Rodriguez addressed the planet one last time before the attack. Today, we take the fight to the Galactic Council. We go to reclaim our children, to secure our future, and to show the universe that humanity will not be broken. For Earth, for our families, for our very existence, we fight. As cheers erupted around the world, the first wave of Earth's fleet rose into the sky. The stars awaited, and with them, the greatest battle humanity had ever faced. The war to save Earth's children had truly begun. The silence of space shattered as Earth's fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Council territory. Captain Aisha Okafor, commanding the lead ship Esperanza, felt a mix of fear and determination. "All ships, report in," she ordered, her voice steady despite the stakes. One by one, the fleet's captains confirmed their presence. The attack had begun. But the element of surprise didn't last long. Deep in the heart of Council space, alarms blared. High Counselor Zixnax's eyes widened in disbelief as reports flooded in. "Impossible," he hissed. "How did they breach our outer defenses?" The Council's response was swift and brutal. Massive warships, dwarfing Earth's vessels, moved to intercept. The space between the two fleets lit up with energy weapons and missile trails. On Earth, tension gripped every household. Families gathered around screens, watching grainy footage transmitted from the front lines. In the Global Command Center, President Rodriguez and her advisors monitored the battle, their faces grim. The first wave of the Council's counterattack was devastating. Earth ships, despite their advanced stealth technology, found themselves outgunned. The Esperanza rocked with impacts as enemy fire found its mark. "Shields at 60%, shouted Lieutenant Park from his station. Captain Okafor gritted her teeth. "Evasive maneuvers. All ships implement Ghost Protocol." At her command, the Earth fleet seemed to vanish, only to reappear moments later in a different formation. The Council ships, caught off guard, fired at empty space. But the Council had more than just ships at their disposal. From hidden bases on nearby moons, swarms of fighter drones launched. These tiny, agile craft darted between the larger ships, causing chaos in Earth's formations. Dr. Hiroshi Nakamura, watching from the Mars Command Center, saw his chance. "Activate the AI drones," he ordered. From the cargo bays of Earth's ships, thousands of small, sleek drones emerged. Unlike the Council's remote-controlled fighters, these were guided by advanced artificial intelligence. The space battle transformed into a dizzying dance of metal and energy. AI drones outmaneuvered their Council counterparts, while Earth's larger ships used hit-and-run tactics against the Council's behemoths. Yet despite these successes, Earth's forces were being pushed back. The Council's numerical advantage was beginning to tell. Ship after ship reported critical damage. On the Council's capital world, Zixnax allowed himself a small smile. Victory seemed assured. But then an aide rushed in, face pale with fear. "High Counselor," the aide gasped, "we're detecting anomalies throughout our systems. Navigation, communications, even life support. They're all behaving erratically." Zixnax's smile vanished. This was the work of Phoenix and Earth's hacker network. Across Council space, carefully planted viruses and backdoors activated. Chaos spread through the Council's carefully ordered society. Back in the heart of the battle, Captain Okafor received a priority transmission. Dr. Amina Osei's face appeared on the screen, excitement clear in her eyes. "Captain, we've refined the shield resonance technique. Transmitting the frequency now. One hit should disable their shields completely." Hope surged through the Earth fleet. Ships adjusted their weapons, targeting the Council's largest vessels with the new frequency. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Massive Council ships, once thought invulnerable, suddenly found themselves exposed. But the Council wasn't defeated yet. In a desperate move, Zixnax gave an order that shocked even his own advisors. "Deploy the World Breaker," he commanded. From behind one of the system's gas giants, an enormous vessel emerged. Nearly the size of a small moon, the World Breaker bristled with weapons beyond anything Earth had ever seen. As the World Breaker approached, a message boomed across all frequencies. Zixnax's voice filled every ship, both Earth and Council alike. "Humans," he sneered, "your resistance is admirable but futile. Surrender now, or watch as we annihilate your fleet, and then turn this weapon on your precious Earth. Your children will watch as their homeworld burns." A hush fell over the battlefield. Earth's fleet, already battered, faced a threat beyond their worst nightmares. In the Global Command Center, President Rodriguez closed her eyes, the weight of the entire planet on her shoulders. But before she could respond, another voice broke through the silence. It was young, defiant, and achingly familiar to every Earth parent. "Mom, Dad, everyone, don't give up. We believe in you." Somehow, impossibly, the kidnapped children had found a way to broadcast. Their voices, a chorus of hope, galvanized the Earth fleet. Captain Okafor's eyes blazed with renewed determination. "All ships," she commanded, "prepare for final assault. Whatever it takes, we're bringing our children home." As Earth's battered but unbroken fleet turned to face the World Breaker, the greatest battle in human history entered its final decisive phase. The vast expanse of space lit up with explosions as Earth's fleet engaged the World Breaker. The enormous Council weapon loomed over the battlefield, its size dwarfing even the largest human ships. Yet the Earth forces pressed on, driven by the echoes of their children's voices. Captain Aisha Okafor's voice crackled over the comms. "All ships, focus fire on Sector 7 of the World Breaker. That's where our scans show a potential weakness." The human fleet moved as one, their coordination honed by months of training and the desperation of their mission. Laser fire and missiles converged on the designated point, but the World Breaker's shields held firm. On Earth, millions watched the battle unfold on their screens. In homes, schools, and public squares, people held their breath, united in hope and fear. President Rodriguez stood in the Global Command Center, her fists clenched. "We need a miracle," she whispered. As if in answer to her plea, a message came through from Mars. Dr. Hiroshi Nakamura's face appeared on the main screen, his eyes bright with excitement. "Madam President, we've done it. We've reprogrammed a portion of the Council's own drones. We're deploying them now." In the space around the World Breaker, hundreds of small Council fighter drones suddenly changed course. They turned on their own fleet, causing confusion and chaos in the Council's formations. High Councilor Zixnax watched in disbelief as his own forces turned against him. "Impossible," he roared. "Destroy those traitor drones immediately." But the confusion gave Earth's fleet the opening they needed. Captain Okafor saw her chance. "This is our moment. All ships, Convergence Pattern Omega, hit them with everything we've got." The Earth fleet moved into a tight formation, concentrating all their firepower on a single point of the World Breaker's shield. The massive vessel shuddered under the assault. Meanwhile, deep within the Council's territory, another battle was unfolding. The hacker known as Phoenix, working with a team of the best cyber warriors Earth had to offer, launched a final desperate attack on the Council's networks. Firewalls crumbled, security protocols shattered, and for a brief moment, Phoenix gained access to the Council's most secure systems. A message flashed across every screen in the human fleet. "World Breaker shield frequency isolated. Transmitting now." Captain Okafor's eyes widened as the data came through. "This is it. All ships, adjust weapons to the new frequency and fire at will." The next volley from Earth's fleet passed through the World Breaker's shields as if they weren't there. Explosions blossomed across the surface of the massive weapon, and for the first time, real damage was visible. But the World Breaker wasn't out of the fight yet. It turned its main cannon towards Earth, the weapon powering up with a sickly green glow. Zixnax's voice boomed across all channels once more. You may have wounded us, humans, but we can still destroy your world. In that moment, as hope teetered on the edge of despair, the unexpected happened. From within the world breaker itself, alarms began to sound. The massive ship's systems began to fail one by one, its lights flickering and weapons powering down. Confused chatter filled the comms until a new voice broke through. Young, determined, and unmistakably human. Mom, Dad, everyone. We did it. We sabotaged the world breaker from the inside. Cheers erupted across the Earth fleet as they realized the truth. The kidnapped children, far from being broken by their captivity, had found a way to fight back. They had used their forced education in council technology to undermine the very weapon meant to destroy their home. Captain Okafor fought back tears as she gave her next order. All ships, move in. Rescue operations are now the top priority. Let's bring our children home. As Earth's ships closed in on the crippled world breaker, the tide of the battle turned decisively. Council ships, seeing their superweapon fail and their leadership in disarray, began to retreat or surrender. On Earth, celebrations broke out across the globe. Strangers hugged in the streets, tears of joy streaming down their faces. In the Global Command Center, President Rodriguez allowed herself a small smile. We're not done yet, she said, but we've shown the galaxy what humanity is capable of when we stand together. As the battle entered its final stages, the dream of reuniting with their lost children became a tangible reality for the people of Earth. The war wasn't over, but in this moment, hope burned brighter than any star in the galaxy. The Galactic Council had underestimated humanity's resolve, the strength of their love, and the indomitable spirit of their children. Now they would face the consequences of their brutal actions as a united Earth prepared to reshape the future of the galaxy. The massive world breaker drifted in space, its once mighty weapons silent and dark. Around it, Earth's fleet moved in careful formation, wary of any last tricks from the Galactic Council. Captain Aisha Okafor's voice crackled over the comms. All ships, prepare for boarding operations. Let's bring our children home. Inside the world breaker, chaos reigned. Alarms blared as Council forces scrambled to regain control of their systems. In the heart of the ship, a group of Earth children huddled around a makeshift control panel, their eyes bright with a mix of fear and triumph. 12-year-old Zara Chen, her hands still shaking from the daring sabotage, turned to her friends. We did it, she whispered, but it's not over yet. We need to open the docking bays for our parents. As the children worked, Earth's special forces prepared for the most important mission of their lives. In the lead assault ship, Commander John Okafor, Aisha's brother, addressed his team. Remember, our priority is the kids. Everything else is secondary. The assault began with precision and speed that caught the Council forces off guard. Earth ships latched onto the world breaker's hull, cutting through with advanced lasers. Special forces poured in, their weapons ready but set to stun. They wouldn't risk harming the children. Back on Earth, the Global Command Center was a hive of activity. President Rodriguez watched the operation unfold, her heart racing. Dr. Amina Osei stood beside her, monitoring the world breaker's failing systems. Madam President, she said urgently, the ship's power core is becoming unstable. We don't have much time. The news was relayed to the rescue teams. Commander Okafor's voice was tense as he responded. Understood. We're moving as fast as we can, but this ship is a maze. Inside the world breaker, the Earth children were on the move. Led by Zora, they navigated the corridors they'd come to know during their captivity. This way, she called, guiding the others towards the sound of human voices. The reunion, when it came, was both joyous and chaotic. In a large hangar bay, Earth's special forces burst through the doors, only to find themselves face to face with hundreds of wide-eyed children. For a moment, everyone froze. Then a small voice cried out, "Daddy!" And the spell was broken. Children rushed towards the soldiers, some laughing, others crying. Commander Okafor scooped up a little boy, his own son, tears streaming down his face. But the moment of joy was short-lived. The world breaker shuddered ominously, reminding everyone of the danger they were still in. "We need to move now," Commander Okafor shouted, already organizing the evacuation. As Earth's forces rushed to get the children to safety, a new threat emerged. High Counselor Zixnax, his purple skin pale with rage, appeared with a group of loyal guards. "You'll not take them," he snarled, raising a strange, glowing weapon. What happened next would be debated for years to come. Some say it was a stray shot from the battle. Others insist it was the world breaker itself, rebelling against its master. Whatever the cause, a massive explosion rocked the ship, sending Zixnax and his guards tumbling. In the confusion, the Earth forces seized their chance. The last of the children were rushed onto the rescue ships, even as parts of the worldbreaker began to break apart around them. Captain Aisha Okafor's voice came over the comms, tight with tension. "All rescue teams, report. Do we have everyone?" The seconds of silence that followed felt like an eternity. Then, Commander Okafor's voice, breathless but triumphant. "All children accounted for. Sis, let's go home." As the last Earth ship detached from the dying worldbreaker, a cheer went up across the entire fleet. Parents hugged their rescued children, soldiers wept openly, and for the first time in months, genuine laughter echoed through the ships. The worldbreaker, the symbol of the Council's power and cruelty, erupted in a final spectacular explosion. With it died the old order of the galaxy. In its place, a new future was born, one where humanity would take its place among the stars, not as subjects, but as equals. As the Earth fleet turned towards home, Captain Okafor looked out at the stars. The battle was over, but she knew the real work was just beginning. Humanity had proven its strength, but now they would need to prove their wisdom. The galaxy was watching, and the next chapter of human history was about to be written. The Galactic Council had underestimated humanity's resolve, the strength of their love, and the indomitable spirit of their children. Now, they would face the consequences of their brutal actions as a united Earth prepared to reshape the future of the galaxy. The return of Earth's fleet was met with celebrations unlike anything the world had ever seen. As the ships descended through the atmosphere, millions of people flooded the streets, their eyes turned skyward. The day that many had feared would never come had finally arrived. Their children were coming home. In New York, the first transport touched down in Central Park, transformed into a makeshift landing zone. As the doors opened, children rushed out into the arms of waiting parents. Tears flowed freely as families were reunited after months of separation and fear. Similar scenes played out across the globe. In Beijing, Tokyo, Lagos, and countless other cities, the joy of reunion mixed with the relief of victory. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged triumphant. But amidst the celebration, the leaders of Earth knew that their work was far from over. In the days that followed, as families began the process of healing, President Elena Rodriguez addressed the United Nations. "We have won a great victory," she said, her voice carrying to every corner of the globe. "But with this victory comes great responsibility. We are no longer alone in the universe, and we can no longer afford to be divided amongst ourselves." Her words marked the beginning of a new era for humanity. The threat of the Galactic Council had united Earth in a way that nothing else could have. Now that unity would be put to the test as humanity stepped onto the galactic stage. The children who had been kidnapped became the unexpected heroes of this new age. Their experiences, traumatic as they were, had given them unique insights into alien technology and culture. Many of them, like Zara Chen, chose to use this knowledge to help bridge the gap between Earth and the wider galaxy. Zara, standing beside Dr. Amina Osai in a new interstellar research facility, pointed to a holographic display of the galaxy. "We know so little," she said, her eyes bright with curiosity. "But we're learning more every day." As Earth began to establish diplomatic relations with other alien races, many of whom had suffered under the Council's rule, the true scale of the changes became clear. The fall of the Galactic Council had left a power vacuum, and Earth was suddenly a major player in galactic politics. Captain Aisha Okafor, hailed as a hero of the war, found herself in a new role as Earth's ambassador to the stars. Standing on the bridge of a new ship, the Unity, she looked out at the vast expanse of space. "We came close to losing everything," she mused. "Now we have a chance to build something better." But not all was peaceful in the aftermath of the war. Remnants of the Galactic Council, led by those who had escaped the fall of the Worldbreaker, continued to cause trouble on the fringes of known space. Earth's new fleet, reverse-engineered from captured Council technology, stood vigilant against these threats. Commander John Okafor, leading Earth's new defense force, briefed his pilots before a patrol. "We're not just defending Earth anymore," he reminded them. "We're defending the peace we've won for the entire galaxy." On Earth itself, society was transforming. The influx of alien technology led to advancements in medicine, energy, and space travel. Cities began to reach into the sky, and the first true space elevators became a reality. Humanity's first extrasolar colony, appropriately named New Hope, was established on a distant Earth-like world. Yet, amidst all the changes, the memory of what had sparked this new era was not forgotten. In every major city on Earth, and on New Hope, monuments were erected. They stood as reminders of the kidnapped children, the sacrifices made to rescue them, and the unbreakable spirit of humanity. As the years passed, Earth took its place as a respected member of the galactic community. The principles of freedom, unity, and the protection of the innocent that had driven them to victory became the foundation of a new galactic charter. And on quiet nights, when the stars shone brightly in the sky, parents would tell their children the story of how humanity reached for the stars, not out of greed or conquest, but out of love, the love of parents for their children, which had proven strong enough to reshape the galaxy itself.